This is TWiT.
Christina, you did you get one?
No, it doesn't come until June. I'm mad.
That's a very common plaint I hear from a lot of people. No, it doesn't come to June. So I'm wearing Lisa's.
I know. I was going to say, I heard you're unhappy with it. If you don't want it, I'll buy it from you. But,
no, I'm not that unhappy with
it. See, you're not that unhappy with it. No,
I guess what I'm saying now, having had it for 2 days, so it's completely conceivable that in time, apps will come out that will make this more interesting. It's certainly I think it's a good looking watch. This is the 38mm stainless steel with Milanese loop. You notice that what happened there? Because I took it off my wrist, it's asking for a passcode. It's aware of when it's on your wrist. And so the Apple Pay, for instance, once you authorize it from the phone, and you have to tie it to an iPhone 5 or later, the Apple Pay will continue to work even if the iPhone's not nearby. I'll enter the passcode so I can use it. Oh, I guess I decided it didn't need it. Double tapping the, I've learned a few things. Double tapping the, first of all, this thing has more controls than an iPhone does. You've got a big Friends button on here. You've also got the crown, which both clicks and twirls. And you've got Force Touch. So get this, though. Take a look at this. This is the icons. This was one thing that worried me. Mm-hmm. You can zoom in a little bit. It's dang hard to hit those icons. But I'll give you the bottom line take, and then we can talk about the individual things. It doesn't seem that much. I was hoping there's the Apple Pay, so now I would hold this near to a terminal if I double tap that. It doesn't seem to me to be significantly better than any of the other smartwatches.
No, I mean,
not in any real important way.
Well, the big worry was battery life, and I've heard reasonable things about battery life, but you've still got to recharge it every day or so.
Yeah, but I don't mind that. The Pebble you don't, but you do with Android Wear. Yeah. I'm charging my phone every day. It has a nice little magnetic puck that goes right on the thing, and so it's easy to kind of charge it. It charges fast. Charges in a couple of hours, about an hour and a half. So you could charge it. You can give it a little club nap if you want at dinner before you go back out if it's low. Christina, what do you think of the looks of it? You have gone into Apple stores and tried them on, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Because you want the pink, the pale pink.
I want the pale pink, although now it's funny because when I looked at the Milanese loop in person, the one that you've got on, the 38mm, I really loved it. And I could looks like I could get that one. That one's shipping 4 to 6 weeks, but I don't know if that means that I would get it before or after the one I've ordered. So I don't want to I don't know, I might place a second order and see which one I get first.
I guess my take on this was I was hoping that Apple would kind of, as they did with the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad, take an existing business and make a leap forward in usability so that what was kind of okay really became usable. Smartphone, tablets, music players. And I feel like this is not substantially in any real way different than the Pebble or the Android Wear watches. I mean, it's fine.
It's certainly a lot better looking.
It's better looking.
It is.
Doesn't look so geeky.
Which I think is honestly a big part of it, right? I mean, that would be my argument that has held back a lot of the other watches has been the looks. I mean, it's as much a fashion device as it is.
Is it that fashionable, though? You think that looks that fashionable?
I do, actually. I think that looks really nice. I mean, I think it looks really, really nice.
Jason, you don't agree?
God, no, I don't. But it's like, like Christina's saying, though, it is very personal. Some people love, there are people who dig it. Like from the first time they showed it, when they unveiled it, I made the same noise that I just made there. I just went, ugh. I was like, what? This big square thing? You know what it reminds me of? And this is my immediate thought when I first saw it was, it reminds me of in the 80s. Remember those calculator watches in the 80s? Yeah, it's very much like that, yeah. And we thought they were so cool. I mean, I had one.
It didn't have Mickey tapping his toe.
That's true. But we thought they were so cool. And then 5 or 10 years later, we were like, oh my God, we used to wear a calculator on our wrist. We're like, that thing was so hideous. And I kind of feel like the Square is going to be, I think Apple will get there. I think that it's an evolution towards something that's going to be really slick looking. But I just felt like I wanted it to be thinner. I wanted it to maybe not be square, so square. I wanted it to be have a little more of a wow factor that most Apple products. And I just didn't with this, but it is a very personal thing. I do think some of the Android ones are as good looking.
I think the Moto 360 looks okay, yeah.
Yeah. If you're a dude.
That's true. I mean,
yeah.
huge,
honestly,
right?
like
exactly. This is still huge too.
This is big, but it's. I mean, I tried the 38 millimeter on my wrist, and I have ridiculously small wrists.
Yeah.
And to the point that I like the small band is actually there. At least Apple was telling me they're kind of thinking is probably more for children. Ironically, that's the size I'm getting from my wrist, and it looks great on my wrist. Whereas the Moto 360, you're right, it looks good, but if you've got a small wrist, I mean, it just dwarfs it. And it's such a male-centric device. Me personally, I'm kind of with you, Jason. I wish that maybe this had a slightly different look. I didn't know how much I liked the Square at first. But I'm glad that there's finally a watch where they actually took into consideration that 50% of the public doesn't have, gigantic wrists and made something that can at least be styled to be more feminine. That's good.
Agree. So I'm glad to hear you say that, because that was one of the things I wondered how many. So I've asked, I've tried to get a sense for, are there women that are excited about wearing it? I haven't found too many, but
Christina doesn't count.
But you know how technically is.
You don't count. You're a geek. You're a geek. No, you're a geek.
I'm a geek, but I also spend like $500 on handbags. Like,
okay, so you're fashion forward.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. You're a fashion forward geek.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you compare that to, say, for example, the LG, which is a clunking great bit of technology which sits on your wrist. And I've got fairly slim wrists as well. And I tried it on and it looks horrific. I mean, the Apple Watch does look pretty good, but I'm still not sold on the whole
functionality. I don't think it does much for me, but I may be wrong. And maybe the time, maybe apps will come out that'll blow me away.
Yeah.
People are getting excited by things like, oh, I can touch the Shazam button, it'll hear songs. That doesn't matter to me. You can, unlike most, you can't make phone calls on the Android Wear watches. You can only see that a call's coming in, then you have to pick up your phone. You can make a phone call from this and talk to people. I'm not sure a lot of people are going to do that. You can talk to Siri on this, and actually Siri seems to work better on this, frankly, than it does on the iPhone. I don't know why that's
is. That's what CNET, their review, CNET's review on it said the same thing, that they felt like Siri worked better on the watch for some reason than it does on the phone. But I do agree with you, Leo, that I think that there's not a lot of great, functionality that knocks your socks off with this yet. I felt like they tried to do too much and they were a little undisciplined with this. They didn't pick a few things and try to really make them great like they normally do. And so I think this shows that they're still, they're taking it's baby steps out of the post-Jobs era, right? Because the lack of discipline does, I think, show in that way. But there are a few things, I think, that there are some glimmers of hope for me that make me think like, okay, this I could see being pretty interesting. And one is like the American Airlines thing. They worked with American Airlines, I think a couple other airlines too, but where, it automatically will have your boarding pass. It'll put on there. It'll even show you like your flight in progress. It'll show you like how much time is left and those kinds of things. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, you can have that on your phone. And, that's cool. But I could see myself wanting to glance, there's a couple glanceable things where I see like, okay, that would make sense. And I would like having that without having to get out my phone, every time I want to do that kind of thing. And I think if they would have laser focused on the stuff that would be better to just glance and not take out the phone, the better this product would have been. And I think they're still finding their way a little bit there.